Hello, everybody. It's Sunshine. Today we're going to be talking about some amazing topics. I didn't realize we still have the lies we tell ourselves to stay stuck. That is actually not the title of our show today. That is not the title of our show. So we're going to do ourselves a favor and recognize that we need a new title. So Armando, can you type the title up front for me? We are going to be talking about how to coach ourselves into success or failure. And this is such an important topic. Because people don't realize that they coach themselves into one or the other. Always. People want to blame everything external. So I'm glad you guys are here today. It's good to be here with you. Hello, One Tribe around the world. Those that are in the United States, the UK, and Canada. We're so happy to have you on the YouTube channel today. I love teaching on our Mindful Mondays. These courses are things that I used to charge for in my seminars, and now we get a chance to do them for free. People just want to blame outside influences for their success or failures, maybe how they were born, how they were raised, the opportunities they have or didn't have, the circumstances they're in now or have been in the past. And so it's very important that we take a look at this particular topic. Was really near and dear to my heart. Armando wants to greet everybody. Hello, Armando. Thank you so much for being here. Cam is in our wonderful One Tribe Australia, our Brisbane chapter, and he says how to coach yourselves into failure or success. We all want to look outside of ourselves for a reason why we work or we fail. That's just not how energy works, though. Energy actually is not the external. We need to remember the source and true power of our success or failure is actually within the energetics of ourselves. So this is, yes, a normal seminar teaching, but it goes a little deeper to explain why are we the influence behind what drives us in success and in failure. I could just talk about the good, successful things, but that wouldn't be really coaching everybody and make this the broad teaching that it ought to be. Hello, Miss Andrea Rockwood. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that the One Tribe is coming together tonight. I know we are just getting really started with these Mindful Mondays, but in a few months, you're going to be so used to these, you won't know what to do when we don't have them. The Mindful Monday process is the way that we start our week by coaching our mindset into the mind frame that it needs to be in to manifest. So we're going to talk about how we coach ourselves into and out of success. Let me know where you guys are coming from. Hi, Miss Julie. I think we have a couple of people from Texas, California. I know we definitely have some moderators in Washington. We have them in Maine. We have them in Florida and all over the United States. We even have a One Tribe England. We have a One Tribe Dublin and a One Tribe chapter in Scotland as well. So hopefully we're going to be joining all of our One Tribe chapters together internationally to make a chain of love. Mindful Monday, Armando says. I'm so happy for this Mindful Monday. Hello, Miss Sherry out of Arizona. Good evening, Joe Fox. And hello to our global family. How many of you could tell me what goals you have set for yourself in the new year? I think people have went through such hard times financially and in their mindsets that they've literally given up on trying to even create abundant, mindful things. A year from now, people are just trying to survive the here and now. How about that? How many people are just saying, I need to know what to do right now. I need to know what to do right this minute. How do I get through a week's worth of groceries? How do I get through a month worth of utility bills? Hello, Miss Annette. Right. Do you guys remember back a few years ago when by December, we'd be setting up all these lofty goals for January. We'd be talking about what we're going to eat this year, what we're going to drive this year, what kind of, we're going to put the swear jar out and we're not going to curse anymore. We're going to start that diet that we wanted to have. We're going to do better with our children, spend more family time or work on our marriage. How many of you in the past used to set these really lofty goals? And these goals, it's like December became a time to celebrate. And then we would just spend all the money we could on Christmas. Be honest, we always overspend. Everybody overspends on Christmas. If you don't, you'd be 1 in 10 out of 100 people that do overspend. But this year is different. How many of you can identify that this year has been a year of letting go of stagnant attachments, clutter, and unnecessary expenses and excess? How many of you in the One Tribe that are watching now and into the future have changed your mindset from one of excess and overspending to getting into a place where you feel financially fit and you're beginning to think about the things that are really going to change your life? So Joe says, I want to manifest a huge lottery win, and I'm not joking, and it is absolutely possible. Armando San Miguel says, throwing away clutter that's holding stagnant energetic attachments. Very good, Armando. You have been in the program. So Armando San Miguel trained with me at my retreat in Austin, Texas, and him and his partner trained to let go of clutter and attachments. We did some past life trauma, and he's continued the energetic coaching all the way into 2025, which I'm very proud of. Gracie Allen says, absolutely 100% sunshine. And Marty's joining us tonight and saying, hello, everyone. Mr. Cam, growth, abundance, and joy. How many of you could tell me, and I love the comments, so make sure you keep them coming because I'm so excited to see all of the resignation of what we are learning, and also staying with the teachings and allowing them to seep in. I always say that teaching is like slowly absorbing, just like a sponge will absorb. That's how the teachings flow into us. When we teach about anything, you can only handle so much in that moment. You have to digest the rest for later. So I want to make sure to fill your plate with what you can eat easily, what you can enjoy in the moment, and what you can enjoy into the future, because that's really what it's all about. If I was just going to coach you on how to be successful, I'd be the exact same as every Tony Robbins and every other Eckhart Tolle or every other wealth and prosperity preacher like Joel Osteen. But the difference is I'm not teaching you how to be successful or how to fail. I'm teaching you the energetics of both so that you can then go in and set your internal compass for the things you truly want to manifest. Yes, do you appreciate that? Not just having someone sit there and tell you how great life is and how easy it is to manifest everything you want on a silver platter. We should always be hydrating. So there's a couple things I want everybody to do. So for those that are One Tribe for life, you guys know you always have a notebook, a pen, and a paper. You've been writing down these teachings for years. They're life-changing. So if you don't know me and you've never seen who I am, my name is Sunshine Frost. I am just like you. There was a time in my life where I believed that my circumstances dictated my life's path. I had grown up. This is a very short story, not a sob story, but a reality check. I grew up without a mother. An alcoholic father, was the victim of traumatic childhood abuse. Once I moved through the foster care system, I was placed with a family. I was able to overcome a teenage drug addiction. I was homeless at 17, was able to get a foster family through the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I was able to go and have a stable environment that allowed me to go back to a continuation high school. I was able to go back to school that I had dropped out of high school 3 years earlier. I was able to get into that school, graduate high school, and go on to college at Brigham Young University on an academic scholarship. When I was there, I didn't have money, I didn't have funding, I didn't have a family, and yet I plugged into the energetics that I will be successful. I went from homeless to a house, even though it was just living in the backyard of someone's house, in an actual RV, finishing school. I got 2 jobs, never having experience, worked both of those jobs, paid for my graduation cap and gown, only had 2 people attend my graduation without any expectation, ended up receiving a scholarship from my school district. I was the highest GPA in the school district, and I ended up graduating with my peers, and they had been in school for 4 years of high school, and I graduated in a year and 10 months simply because I changed my mindset of what people wanted me to do, which was to go to school every day. And I shifted into, this is what I need to do to get where I want to go. And it changed everything for me. That was my first taste and first hunger for shifting the mindset, not understanding that when people were forcing me to go to high school and forcing me to learn stuff I didn't want to, I didn't really have any interest. So I rejected the narrative. And what ended up happening was I ended up moving into a place where I realized that without this diploma, I couldn't get where I wanted to go. So I didn't know the how of I was going to get there, but I knew what I wanted. At that time, I had realized I wanted to go into medicine. So when I went and got this small little scholarship, which was only, I think it was a $30,000 scholarship, which wouldn't even pay for one corner of school at this expensive university. And it was such a beautiful university. It ranks in the top 10 in the United States for schools. At that time, Brigham Young University was a very, difficult school to get into, and they wanted you to have a high SAT score or college entrance exam. So I took the college entrance exam, and I ended up doing really well in it. But the point of the story is that it wasn't until I shifted my mindset that this is something I needed rather than something that was being forced on me, that I actually, instead of resisting the change, I initiated the change. And even though I didn't really love school, I loved what I was going to be able to do in the future. So I moved into this place where I was able to actually get a secondary scholarship. I applied for another scholarship, and I was able to get a scholarship through the university for an academics because I had the highest GPA graduating. So even though I left my peers, I ended up graduating at the same time, making up those whole 3 years that I had dropped out of high school. And we graduated at the same time in different schools, and my GPA was higher, showing that no matter what your setback is, maybe you do not have the support that you need. Maybe you don't right now have the resources you need. Maybe you don't have the staff you need for your business. Maybe you don't have the spouse you need to make your marriage better. Maybe you don't have the children you need to help you and to make you feel supported as a person in your life right now. But after you think about, it's not about the things you don't have, because I didn't have the 3 years. I didn't have the parents. I didn't have the coaching. I didn't have the new clothes for school. I didn't have a car to get back and forth. I didn't have any of that. But when I shifted my mindset to what I didn't want, which was to go to school, into what I did want, which was to get that doctoral degree or to get something and prove people wrong. And I have to say, to be honest, I wasn't in it for the right reasons. I was in it for vindication. I remember sitting in my school counselor's office right before I dropped out, about 1 month before I dropped out of high school. I had a career counselor, tell me that I would not make it. I told her I had wanted to be a pilot in the United States Navy. I wanted to be a Navy pilot or Navy SEAL. Thank you so much. She laughed at me and said, women can't do that. Then I told her I wanted to be a doctor. She said I was too poor and that I would never be smart enough to be a doctor. And then she went on to tell me the best thing I could probably ever do was go get a job at a department store or a supermarket. And it made me so angry. My cheeks were burning with just the disrespect, knowing that I was very poor. I didn't have a lot of family. I went to school smelling like cigarettes. I didn't show up on school on time. I missed days because I had no clean clothes. I got in trouble a lot. I was smoking behind the building. I was exactly what you would think a troubled youth looks like. And rather than taking an interest in trying to take me under her wing and figure out ways that she could empower me, she decided to discourage me, which was the best thing she could have ever done, was tell me I was essentially a nothing and I would be nothing, because it put a fire under me to prove that that pot could boil. It proved to me that in those circumstances, if all I had was a pair of shoes, I would use them to walk wherever I needed to go. If all I had was one set of clothes, then I would wash those clothes and show up for school on time. And I did. They told me that I would never have any money and I wouldn't even be able to afford to graduate. So I got 2 jobs. One is a hostess at an Italian restaurant and one is a server at a sandwich shop. And I ended up paying for my own cap and gown and my graduation photos. And it was one of the proudest days of my life. I even bought myself new shoes because that's the only thing that would show up in my photograph. That was my first taste of earning success. Even though it was a very small victory, it was very small. That victory meant everything to me. So the first thing I want to talk about in coaching yourself into success or failure is, are you going to listen to those that said they couldn't do it? Are you going to listen to those because they didn't follow their dreams or they didn't stick to those plans long enough to manifest reality? Or they didn't actually, it wasn't their dream, it was their parents' dream. So they put half of the amount of energy they would have needed to manifest it. The truth of people that fail and people that succeed is that the plan is not different for either one. It's just that one of them believes in it and the other one is bullshitting their way through it. And excuse me for saying it, but I have to be very blunt and honest with everybody here. If you're going to piano lessons because your parents wanted you to, or you're being the football player because daddy wants a football player and that's all he gives his attention to, that is not going to get you where you want. If you're the preacher's daughter and you're only going to church for their blessing, it's not your mindset. And only through your mindset of what you truly see as a visionary for your future can you actually manifest it. Because when the hard times come, and they will, when the hard times take over, and they will, and when the naysayers come, and they will, and when everything that you put in place begins to push back, and it will, and all of your timelines get distorted, they will, only thing that is going to keep you glued to your path is your own vision. And for me, that vision was having a graduation with brand new white, clean shoes and buying those pictures just like the rich kids. Whether I had a mom, a dad, or anybody, I was going to get that no matter what I had to do. So Marty says, with the right mindset and determination, anything is possible. Look at you now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Armando San Miguel says, exactly. Andrea says, absolutely. So when we think about this, I want you to really get practical as to what you want. So I know everybody's going to write down. I want you to write down for your goals, not something, and I know The Secret, I love The Secret. If you've listened to and watched The Secret, it's the principles of manifestation through spiritual law. If you haven't looked up The Secret, I absolutely recommend that you do that as part of your homework package today, that you look up The Secret. I want you to be involved. Thank you, Laura Capello out of Connecticut and Angel Boss for being here today. But I want you to think about the principles of The Secret. Say, pick the loftiest, highest visionary goal, which typically people always transmute in divisions of money and wealth. Always, it's money and wealth, money and wealth, money and wealth. But let me be honest with you. If you're in a terrible relationship, if you've been disowned by your children, if you've been disenfranchised from your family, if you have had extremely poor health and are dealing with diagnosis and disease, the idea of a Porsche Lamborghini and a vacation in Italy isn't really going to be your driving motivation. So at first, typical programs will teach you like, want the Lambo, the Porsche, the Cayenne, whatever. But what I'm saying is you really have to get, what I say is everybody's mind's vegetable soup. And when I coach people, I am going through that soup, taking out one vegetable or one piece at a time, one element or ingredient to figure out what is the broth. And we have to get back to the broth. So they often think they want a car. Why do you want a car? Do you have a car? Yeah, I have a Civic. Does it run well? Yeah, it runs good. Why do you want a Lamborghini or a Porsche, whatever? And they say to me, because I want to be impressive to people. And then I say, what would it mean to be impressive? Well, it would mean people want to be with me. And I said, what does people wanting to be with you mean to you? And then we get to the bottom of, it means everything. And I said, but why does that mean everything? Because I'm lonely. And there you've taken out the bean, you've taken out the green bean, the corn, you've taken out the potato. You finally got the meat, which is that they're lonely. And the very basis of it is they feel alone. So they don't really need a car. What they need is to figure out how they can actually be part of a community or part of a vision where they don't see themselves alone. And we don't have to use wealth to buy our friends. We don't have to use just wealth and prosperity to influence everything, because a lot of things are wealth, but a lot of things are not wealth. Your wealth is not going to buy you better health, but it can help you to buy better treatments and have access to better doctors and coaches. So when I coach somebody that has an illness or a sickness, they don't want a vacation to Italy. They want to heal their body. So to heal the body, we need to figure out, where did it go wrong, right? Where did it go wrong? And that possibility is that it just went wrong somewhere along the path. So this idea that we just all need to be so wealthy, abundance is great, but abundance can be wealth. It can be relationships. If you've been disowned by everybody or everyone's disowned you and you feel very isolated, money's not going to buy your family back, but forgiving them and coaching yourself into a new healthy family unit, or accepting your circumstance without expectations on them, can allow you to forgive. So that's the abundance we're working for. So when we talk about coaching ourselves into the future or coaching ourselves into a better place, this is what we're talking about. So let's get some comments from you guys. What are your takeaways from this so far? When you shift your mindset, number one, it's not what you have to do, it's what you want to do. It's not what you have to do, it's what you want to do. So that's what you need to figure out, because so many people spend a majority of their life doing jobs they hate, with people they don't even like anymore, in relationships that don't serve them, and they wonder why they're so unhappy and sick. You know, this is a very well-known thing. I didn't learn this until about, I don't think I fully accepted the teaching until maybe about, I would say 10 years ago, maybe even 7 years ago. And then I had more digestion of this concept, even up to 3 years ago. And what I recognized was, you know, we have Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. We have The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. We have books by Joe Vitale. We also have The Power, which is also in league with The Secret by Rhonda Byrd. When we think about all these people, all these teachings, they're all saying one absolute truth, which is that your mind decides your future. So if you're spending so much energy, God, I hate this job. I can't stand this relationship. I hate my back. I hate this. I hate where we live. I hate this house. I don't like this job. I can't stand your family. Whatever you're saying, you're putting it out in waves. And atmospherically, you're transmitting a hateful, negative, or limited belief, which has no choice but to reflect back to you. Okay? So I want to think about that. How do you coach yourself in or out of everything? You shift your mindset. Very good, Miss Laura. Joe says, I also ordered the book, Ask and It Is Given. Amen. Letting go of the old self's mindset. Yes. Angel Boss says, perspective and releasing the negative thoughts. Absolutely. Marty says, needs over wants. Status does not always mean happiness. And absolutely, this is energy goes where attention flows. Yes, Miss Laura. Absolutely. And Julie says, start by being your own best friend. Sometimes that means doing the work on yourself is the most important work you'll ever do. So going back to the story, I went to the high school, then I went to the college. And when I got into college, I thought more than anything, I wanted to study to be in medicine. I got into medicine, and as I got into it, I became an EMT. Then I went to paramedic school. Then I joined the military, ended up getting into surgery, went into surgical technology school, got my degree in that. Then I wanted to become a doctor. I took my MCATs and realized medical schools were full, but I got accepted into a physician's assistant program. So I was in my first term of that when suddenly my vision changed. After 7 years of pursuing this, I had children, and I realized that a 12-hour shift at a hospital, it just didn't mean the same to me when I had all these little beautiful lives that wanted me and needed me and were counting on me to be present for them. And everything I had worked for just started melting away from me. I didn't want to be in a hospital or with sick people when my own children were at home sick and they had a fever or a sore throat. I realized so very quickly that I really wanted to be with my children more than I wanted to be with other people. And so the vision that I had held onto with teeth and nails and grit and determination began to sink, and it began to change. So I recognized that even though I had worked so hard for this, I couldn't actually continue doing it with a good conscience. It became that I needed to refocus my attention. So you may be in that situation where a relationship that once worked for you, a business model that once worked beautifully for you, a career that you once loved or maybe can't do anymore. Like, Mr. Sunshine, he couldn't do his career anymore because physically he's changed. And so that doesn't match the energy. So a lot of people get very discouraged when they can't go backwards into what they know is familiar. So what I always tell people is, this is okay to be bought out of a plan. I was bought out of my own success. I got bought out, so to speak. I got bought out because being a mother was better than being an employee. Being a mother was better than being an employee. How many of you ever felt that? Being at home or being with your wife or, going out in the woods or painting or something that you truly love became suddenly more important than what you were already doing. So I want you to think about, how can I refocus the energy so that this next year I can actually be there for what I want to do. So, and I want to tell you, everybody says, do what you love and be passionate and the money will come. I'm going to be honest. That is about 80% true. 80% of people will be able to make a living at what they do. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be a millionaire because you love what you do. But it means that if you love that, then you will love it into the future. So that's what's so important, is that if you do something that you love, you never truly work a day in your life because you're not drudging around. And the only difference between you and someone else is that they followed their dream and started their business. Now, if you want to do something that a million people have already done, you have to be the best at it, or you're going to have to be in deep competition. So I'm not saying everything that you love is going to make you $1 million. You may be called to paint, and painting may be something you love, but it may not ever be something that you make a huge commission at. But that's where you just decide to pursue yourself, your hobbies, your likes. I know people that play golf because they love golf. Cam's on here. He loves to trade. That's his job. But golf is so important. It's his way of refocusing his energy. His beautiful wife, Kelly, she refocuses by doing therapeutic things for her energies. Some people walk, some people bike, some sing songs like Armando. He loves to sing and write music. I like to paint and I love therapeutics and being in nature. So I love camping. I may not make $1 million at this, but that is called clearing the palate. That term comes from when you eat food. Maybe you go to a place and you're drinking wines or something. And as they're giving you these different wines, they want you to try to eat these little crackers in between. And in the crackers, right, it clears the palate so you can taste the next type of wine. What is the age? What are the aspects? What's the essence, the undertones, the overtones? Same for food. Well, it's very much the same with your mindset. You have to refocus through clearing the palate. There is the point at which all humans get to where we can't take any more in, and we actually don't need to digest any more inside. We're already full. And when you get full, what you need to do is clear the palate. Clear the palate. What do you think, Marty? What do you think, Laura? What do you think? Do you guys think clearing the palate is a wonderful way? Armando says you're absolutely right. Amy Hall says, I had a dream about the golden ticket of life. I want you to think about something. What do you guys think about the flat earth movement? Does anybody think the flat earth movement is real and that there's a firmament above us that stops us from going up? My biggest disappointment in life is finding my purpose or passion. At 58, I have not gotten into it yet. You're not alone, Joe. A lot of people live their passion by helping others. So for me, I actually didn't pursue my own passions until I was in my 30s because I've always been sharing my energy, knowledge, wealth with the people that were in my inner circle, and they needed me more. Now that my youngest child is in double digits, it's time for me to start building those aspects of what I've learned and pushing it out. So Gracie Allen says, this is a great way of explaining it, Sunshine. Laura Capello says, yes, we need to clear the palate. Julie says, I really can't grasp the flat earth theory. And Laura says, yes, me too. I haven't found my passion because I'm always helping people. So let me think about this. The flat earth theory is that the earth is flat rather than cylindrical, right, or orbital. And that above us in this realm, there's a firmament. That's what the belief is. For the sake of this argument, I just want you to picture, if that were true, that we had a giant dome over us, similar to the Hunger Games when they were in the firmament and she shot the arrow and it hit the firmament, or it hit the top. And when it hit the top, it glitched out the whole matrix of the games they were playing. Do you guys remember that in Hunger Games? I don't know if you've seen the movies. They were really popular, mega $1 million blockbuster hits. But I believe it was the last Hunger Games where we actually saw her outsmart it, and she shot an arrow with an electrode, an electrical device, a cord, a wire that was conducting electricity, and it blew up the matrix. I want you to realize that Marty says, a flat earth, I don't think so. So we're going to move on to this and keep it on point and on subject with this comment. When you think about yourself, I do want you to think of us in a dome, okay? Angel Boss says, yes, I've read every one of them and read the books too. So did I. I did too. I read the books before the shows came out and I really loved them. So again, Laura says, I've never seen the Hunger Games, but for the sake of demonstration, let's just go with the concept of, Marty, do you remember the Hunger Games and this arrow moment where she shot this up and it basically glitched? So this is what I want you to think about. If there is a dome This is the earth, and we're inside of it here. We're just one person. Just picture yourself as one person inside of the dome of the whole earth. Whenever you send out or transmit a thought, whether negative or positive, that thought is going out in waves. Kind of getting bigger as it goes, and it's sort of affecting everything in the universe. At first, those around you are affected the most, those that are closest to your energy field. But after that, it gets incrementally less and less and less and less and less and less and less. However, that dome reflects your energy back to yourself. So when that energy comes back, I want you to recognize that energy is what you're receiving back from the universe. So if you're putting, I hate my job, I don't like my health, I can't stand my partner, my children are selfish, my family's always done this to me, I've never had enough, I've never been loved, I've always been alone. What are these negative, limiting self-beliefs doing in the atmosphere of a globe, an energetic globe around you? What do you think you're doing when these energetic thoughts are being sent out as radio waves, because your brain is a transmuter and a receiver of energy, and you're sending it out into the universe, and those things are energetically responding to your thoughts, your heavy thought forms, whether they're good or whether they're bad. I want you to think about this. What does your reality What is your reality affecting the energetics around you? So someone that says, I'm always left behind, I'm always abandoned. And then they go to the partner and they say, oh, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. I'm always abandoned. Don't leave me. Everybody leaves me. You always leave me. As you continue to say this is called a self-fulfilling prophecy, because they have no choice. The universe is like a genie that responds to your command. You say things like, please don't leave me. The universe doesn't hear don't, and it doesn't hear the word no. So when you say things like, please don't leave me, what are you really saying universally? Marty knows this teaching. Andrea knows this teaching. Angel Boss knows this teaching. I've trained with all of them independently for years. What are we really saying? Armando says it's like when you throw a ball or a rock in a pond. Yes, a pebble in a pond. Very good, Armando. Negative energy comes true. Yes. Angel Boss says the more negative you are, the more you're going to have negative and be around you even more. Absolutely. Right. Angel Boss says when you predict these things, someone will leave you, leave you, leave you. Guess what's going to happen? They have to respond. So eventually you will drum up some circumstance or some situation where they meet someone at work. The ex-girlfriend or boyfriend comes back in. Whatever happens, that has to come back to you because you keep speaking it into existence. And the very universe was spoken into existence. Remember that. It says that God said, let there be light. And there was. God said, let the day be separated from the night. And so it was. God said, let the water and the sky be separated by the firmament. And so it was. When we realize that even the word universe is actually una being the oneness of all people and all things as the mind of God, and verse is what he spoke into existence. The universe is actually God's word, and as we are part of God, we have the same capacity to create reality through the words. What do you guys think of that? So when we think about that, there we go. Julie, you only attract like-minded people when you say these things. You have to. So many women and female clients actually drummed up cheating, believe it or not, their fear of constantly being cheated on because it had happened in their past. and their ability to fight about it and to bring it up and to be so insecure and jealous of every other female that was around their spouse or partner. And then the accusation of the abuse, the accusation of cheating, the accusation of you've cheated on me, you looked at her, you lusted, you did this, you did that. As you say, you did. You just created it, whether it was true or not. Now reality must respond to your universe that you just created in a macrocosm around yourself. You are creating the universe, the one spoken word around you in your 10 to 20 foot energy field at all times. You are creating your own universe. This is what God, Yeshua Elohim, was speaking of when he said one is uni, which is oneness, and verse, all things that are spoken become into existence. So you have within yourself the ability to coach yourself in or out of reality with success based on what you do. This is why one of my most important teachings in my energetic coaching practice is to go in and help to remove the actual energetics that you are sabotaging yourself with. And there isn't a single client that I've worked with that doesn't have sabotaging tactics in their mindset unless they have freed themselves, and it is very rare. So Joe says, I'm so glad I came across you and your live program. Thank you so much, Joe. Make sure you guys share this. This is a beautiful live, and I'm so happy. When we get off of this broadcast, make sure you share it to friends and family through sending emails, chat, text, or even share it to your own YouTube account. So I want to leave you with some things. If you can't coach others, everybody wants to go out and coach, sell something. They want to sell something. They want to do something. They want to buy something. They want to finance something. They want to go on this trip. They want to do this and that. They want to convince their kids or spouse to be better or to listen better or to do more. But this is what I want to tell you about energetics. Are you ready? Spirit Angel Boss says, the more you walk in your positive and see your life in good ways, it shows and you radiate this instead of negativity. Absolutely. Amy Hall says, as a man thinketh. Now, I want to talk about that for a second. You will think negative thoughts because a person thinks an average of 20,000 micro thoughts a day. So it is okay that we think negatively, but it's not okay to grasp on it, to dwell on it, hyper delineate on it, or to then speak it into existence. Okay. Joe says, you have put me on my gratitude list for sure. Amen. Thank you so much. And Laura Capello says, best teacher ever. We're going to talk a lot about the universe and the true identity of God in our next year, 2025 program, which I think maybe it's going to be a subscription-based program where we're going to talk about the energetics of God, manifestation, all of the ascended masters. I'm very excited for the prophetic uplift and the inner temple workshops we're going to be doing. So Armando San Miguel says, the only way they can coach is if they're living in it by their own actions. They have to portray our words, and it starts with their own mindset. Sometimes, thank you so much for that comment. Marty, what are you thinking about this subject? This is such an interesting reality shift because most people think of God above us and the universe is unaware of us around us. But actually, we know through so many masters that have went before us that the universe is actually consciously being created through us and through all other ascended and light beings. So we are creating, but I want you to think that's hard to conceptualize something so massive. But if I were to break it down and say your universe extends 10 to 20 feet around you, and what you're saying is affecting what is happening, now you know the truth. Your body heals through saying, I feel good, even when you feel bad. I can eat, even when you can't eat. I can love this person and forgive them, even if that moment is not a moment of love and peace. There's so much more that you can do by coaching yourself into the mindset of, it's going to get better. I may not have it now, but I'm going to have it. My spouse and I may not be getting along right this minute, but we're going to work things out. I may not be making that money right this minute, but I'm absolutely headed for success and abundance. Even when you don't have enough money, you always remind yourself, I have enough money for all my needs and then some. Because if you always put your success in the future, in a place, the future is always existing beyond your reach, right? I'll have enough money tomorrow. Well, tomorrow is always a day ahead of you. It will never come. We must first say, if you have only $10, I have enough. And by being so grateful for the $10, $100 then comes. And when you have 100, you think of how great the 100 is. And you're so grateful and you live within that means, and you don't complain that it's only 100, because then you're able to manifest 200. And when the gratitude comes for the 200 and you're able to start being more abundant by giving to others and investing a little bit, just even a quarter or $1 or $5 in another person's program or another person's needs or wealth or abundance, you've now tripled your influence. So 200 now turns into 500. That's the law of prosperity. It is an actual universal law that once you reach 3 times the amount that you thought you would make, you must turn back and give 1/3 of it back to something in need. We'll talk about that in a future broadcast, but the true principles of absolute wealth and abundance is to give and receive. So we receive so we can give. And in doing so, we call out to the universe, I am so abundant, I'm generous with it. Because you keep blessing me, and therefore I keep blessing the world. So trying to get excited for the improvements. Armando says yes. We're greeting some people. Let's go back. Let's see. So I want to get back in time. I might as well just change what I can today. And in the future, I've already done it. Give and receive. Be still and know that I am God. Do you know what be still and know that I am God? You're actually talking to your own self. Be still so that the egoic mind is not chattering away, distracting you. And when you say, I am, you are speaking to the core of your being that is connected through God. And through God's omnipresence, we actually bring through the power of manifestation through ourselves. So it's not about knowing something outside of yourself. It's actually about knowing that God is within you. That's what be still and know that I am, God is in the center of me. That, in broken down, is recognizing that we all have the component of the God seed within the core of our being. And it is my job here to remind you of the truth of your own divine essence and the destiny that you have to fulfill by manifesting all that you are going to manifest in this life, which is amazing. All of these scriptures can be broken down to the spiritual teachings of what they truly meant. And the problem with some of them is that they were interpreted not by people like me who are seers or those that are spiritually gifted or prophets or revelators. They were actually put together in the Council of Nicaea by politicians and scholars without a spiritual anointing on their lives. So a lot of plain impressions truths were retaught in a manner during their translation that lost the essence of these teachings. It lost the essence of what we were really being told. And now a lot of it is separated, the religious community from the spiritual, when really they were always one. And that's why we come back to the oneness of God. And that's why we're called the one tribe, because people find the one tribe, which is a soul collective seeking to really incorporate the truth into all of us through our own unique soul's exploration and journey here on earth. We're seeking to be together. We're seeking to be in it with each other and to share the teachings, because the teachings do belong to everybody, but we're in a time of remembrance right now. That's why I want to see what you're going to do in 2025. What are you going to coach yourself into? I myself was living in fear of flying. And then I coached myself. I'm like, how can I coach all these people into success when I can't coach myself onto an airplane? Let's see what our comments have to say right now. Hello, Selah. So powerful and beautiful. Laura says, wow, I didn't know that. Ego will always divide. Laura says, I love hearing your teachings. Thank you so much, Laura. These are not my teachings. These are the true teaching of Spirit. And I'm just so grateful that I get to have those downloads of healing and anointing. And I'm just grateful for the time I've got to spend praying, fasting, and reading these beautiful anointed scriptures so that they can be interpreted in a way that you can understand. That's what Yeshua did. Yeshua made them so simple, and that's why the church was so angry, because he unlocked the keys of mystery so that people that had kept these things in their hearts for thousands of years wanted to own that knowledge. And Jesus went about actually unlocking the knowledge and giving it both to men and women equally, and actually did so many miracles for women. He became a danger to the actual religious society. And that's why they sought to destroy him, is he was giving away thousands of years of teachings of the mystery schools, which is what he sent me and so many others to continue teaching the actual truth of the divinity of Allah Elohim and the Spirit of God that lives within all of us. So we are in oneness with God. We're never separated. That's just not the teachings of the One Tribe, but the funness is learning these things. Going back to how do we coach ourselves? We just coach ourselves through our own words. And the things I tell myself, and this is my actual list right here, I use this for myself. So when I coach you, I do it from the I perspective. And I coach myself more than I coach anyone else. So as I do so many coachings around the world, and remember, guys, if you're interested in getting some coaching to remove some old energetics, maybe you want to get rid of some old mindset beliefs, maybe you're stuck in a relationship, maybe you're stuck in a career, a job, or you just don't know where your future is headed. If you're stuck in those, then you can absolutely contact me at www.sunshinefrost to book your session with me. And the great thing about that is you can get access to the same coaching that I've done with thousands of people around the world. And you can receive those individual interpretations from Spirit about what is holding you back and how we can coach you forward, right? So the things I tell myself is that I coach myself more than I coach anyone else. And that's an absolute truth. I don't wish for it. I work for it. And that is a truth as well. If you want something in life, you have to be willing to get the 2 jobs, walk to the high school, go to college. I ended up going to college with no money, didn't even have a way to pay for food. And what I did was I walked down and got a job at the cafeteria. I got up at 4:30 in the morning, made breakfast for the rich kids. And because of that, they gave me a card that allowed me to have 2 meals at the caf. So as I provided with vision for my life, I didn't know how I was going to go pay for college. Got 2 scholarships. Didn't know how I was going to survive. Ended up getting the cafeteria scholarship for 2 meals a day. And then I ended up getting a bishop who was a potato farmer who gave me free potatoes and milk for the whole semesters that I was there. So you don't have to know the how. You just have to know the why. I want to be a doctor. Why? Because I want to help people. So that's so important. I want to be this because I want to do that. And you don't have to know the how. The universe will provide the how for you. Believe that. Okay. Number 2, I live like I am wealthy. So my goal is to be very independently capable of helping a lot of people by having One Tribe communities around the world, and my family and I traveling to support those communities. So Mr. Sunshine, me, my daughter Evie, the empath, Ian, as well as Elijah is a healer. So I plan on our family traveling around, being able to do community. And I also want to train. I do a lot of trainings and energetics. So I love teaching businesses the energetics of manifestation. I love teaching trainers, coaches, bosses, engineers, traders, real estate agents, and salespeople how also to shift their energetics to get 6-digit incomes. I shifted my mindset to get a 6-digit income, and I did it totally by myself in a 10 by 10 office by coaching with the spirit, figuring out what I was doing wrong, having it be revealed to me, removing the ego from it, changing those things, and moving forward. And now I do the same for other people. So number 2 is I live like I want to have that success. If you tell me you want to have a job, you can't lay in bed all day in your pajamas eating cereal. If you want a job, you get up at 8 a.m., you wash your face, brush your teeth, comb your hair, get dressed like you're going somewhere. Then you start looking for a job on the internet, papers, Indeed, whatever it is. You have to be ready for the opportunity. If you tell me you want to be married, but you park in the middle of your driveway, you sleep in the middle of your bed, your house is a wreck, and you've never went on a date, you're really telling me I'm not ready. So universally, the universe has eyes, and they're looking to see where are your cues that you're actually ready, okay? So when we talk about this, it's so important to recognize if you want to be married, then you should be moving to one side of your bed. Move your car to one side of your driveway. Do yourself a favor. Dress like you want to meet somebody when you go to the grocery store, the coffee mart, wherever you're going, the gas station, dropping your kids off at school, picking up your laundry, picking up anything, going to the tire shop. You have to dress like you're about to meet the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams. If you're not doing that, you're telling the universe, I'm not really ready. So that perfect someone you would have met on December 6th is now going to meet someone else that was ready, and you'll have to wait till, February 6th to get another shot at love. So recognizing that the universe is always watching you to see if you're actually attuned to the frequency of what you say you want. I want to coach successfully and do seminars on the books that I write and coach people all over the world. So I get up every day, even without clients. My family tells you I do my hair, my makeup, put on my jewelry, put on my nice clothes. I come in here, I clean my office, whether I have clients or don't have clients, I'm ready to go to work. And then what do you know? The clients begin to come. I sit there and I say, thank you, Elohim, for this beautiful day of coaching and sessions around the world. I'm so grateful to be of service. Thank you for this wealth and abundance. Amen. And through that, within an hour or two, coaching starts happening. People will book sessions with me right that day. So literally, I'm showing the universe that I'm ready to work. I'm ready to be of service. I'm ready to do these things because I know God is listening. We do our best and then we let God do the rest. So it's not God do it for me and I'll sit here and pray in my pajamas for a job but never get up and look for it. You do your best, then God does the rest. God puts it all into the universal plan, but you have to be ready and show the universe, hey, I'm ready with bells on. This is what the parable of the 10 virgins with their lamps full of oil waiting on the bridegroom. It can mean a lot of things like revelations, the last days, the times that we're living in. All that is truthful. But ultimately, it's saying the universe is the bridegroom. Are you going to be the foolish virgin that runs away when the door opens of opportunity is open, but you're over there refilling your lamp because you refuse to be prepared for that opportunity when it came? Because that's not going to be me. I walk, talk, think, and act like a millionaire because that's exactly what I want, is to have foundations that are going to bless people all over the world. I want to have independent wealth and legacy so I can start 2 more orphanages in third world countries. I want to be able to have One Tribe Retreat healing centers in 5 different locations in the world. And I want to be able to basically continue to write the books, train people to do what I do, and do the seminars because my greatest flex and my love is training and teaching. I love training and teaching. There was a time when I wouldn't even have done these seminars because I didn't make money at them. I didn't make money doing this. I don't make money teaching, right? That's what I told myself. And that was a lie. That was a limiting belief and a lie that I told myself. So it held me back. And guess what? I never did make money at teaching because I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that I could make money teaching. So guess what? I didn't make money teaching. I believed I could not be a pastor and make money because I couldn't be a pastor because I was also a naturally gifted intuitive and they didn't go together. That's another limiting belief I told myself. Now I see myself as a prophetic, anointed representative of spirit, and I'm happy to be a teacher. I love it. And I let people take what they need and leave the rest. I didn't believe a pastor could be a healer. And yet here we are realizing that all of Yeshua and the disciples were healers. And this is absolutely what God teaches. And it should be open and available to everybody because energy is available to everyone. I thought for a long time that I couldn't write books because I didn't have anything published and I wasn't a writer. And now I realize that was another limiting belief that I held about myself, that I needed to have some degree to write books. I needed to do this or I needed to do that. These were all self-imposed universal laws that I put into my own universe. And so they kept reflecting back that I wasn't ready. I couldn't do it. It wasn't enough. I couldn't do this. I couldn't be a mom and be a highly successful CEO of my own company because I had to sacrifice one or the other. Then I realized that's not true. I can actually bring my husband in, make him an awesome coach and advisor to me to assist and help. My children are all gifted and they're all moving toward different parts of this business. One may do the advertising and media. One may read with me. One may be a massive healer. We don't know, but we move everybody into the flow instead of away from the flow. So for me, you just have to see where are your limiting beliefs and mindsets. I had so many limiting beliefs that I couldn't do it after 35. Nobody did anything. Women don't do anything after 35. I don't know what I was thinking, but I had these ideas around 35 because I couldn't go in the military after 35. Even though I had been there, I had such a limiting belief. Oh my God, 35, I can't do it. I'm over 35. Or if you hit 40, you can't do anything after 40. Or if you hit 50, all of these things that you tell yourself, they're obstacles, they're limitations, they're self-limiting beliefs. And what they do is they block vision and accomplishments. So the difference in your energy is, are you going to see the obstacle or are you going to see the vision? And that's where I began to shift. Am I going to continue to see the obstacles and the beliefs that I'm holding that are limiting me, or am I going to see the vision? And right now, I can tell you, honest to God, I only see the vision. I see us going to Australia. I see myself going to Australia and many other countries and many other places in the United States. And I see so many of the One Tribes just chalking up around the country and all of these beautiful experiences where we get to work with the energies. I see myself training with multiple companies to help them with their energetics and the healing of energy. I get to see all of our YouTube and TikTok, all of our social media channels growing, and it's exciting. I can already see it here. And because I was still, I got very still, and I know that I am with God, everything is possible. So remember that the law of manifestation is in the tongue and it starts in the mind, and you have a choice about thinking about what you want or don't want. So I want you to bring yourself into balance and recognizing what you truly want and starting to manifest those things. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up with this beautiful teaching. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. And this is part of our Mindful Monday series. So I will be on TikTok tomorrow at Spirit Dr. Sunshine Frost. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I get to do a wonderful show. If you like a little drama and a little sorrow and a little happiness, you're going to love our show on TikTok at Spirit Dr. Sunshine Frost. And that show is all about doing actual words of anointing. I give people messages of hope, knowledge, wisdom, healing, and prophecy. Yeah, we get to do even prophecy. And those are wonderful things we get to watch. So Tuesday through Thursday, at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Los Angeles, California time zone. You can watch that show at 7 p.m. And I will be back on YouTube on Friday. We do 2 episodes a week called the Mindful Monday and then the Fabulous Friday. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And if you'd like to reach out to me, of course, there's my TikTok, Spirit Dr. Dr. Sunshine Frost. And remember, I will be coming to Brisbane, Australia, February 12th through the 24th. And then I will also be in New York in September. I will be in Sedona, Arizona, June 16th for our One Tribe family gathering. And we're also looking to put some more dates on the calendar. I have a family vacation I just booked for May. I will be somewhere else for an entire week, but I haven't told the family where we're going yet. So when I release that, I will let you know. If you can guess it on my TikTok, I'll probably ring the bell for you. But we'll be leaving May 7th to the 14th for an entire week. I'm taking my family on an all-expense paid vacation for supporting me through this difficult and fun, exciting, and yet sometimes sacrificial journey to where we have gotten in the One Tribe. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful night. And again, remember that you are God's expression of love on the planet. So please be kind to yourself and others. Bye, everyone.